And finally, we establish the last step of this relief process, that I have induced you to, which is no other than the process of overcoming. This is where I'll help you overcome the problem in a controlled way. If you know this, here we once again enter a process of transforming your psychic time, since in these moments of relief is where I take you to a future in which you have finally managed to leave behind the problem that overwhelmed you. Here again, I operate on the basis of a process of subliminal psychic induction, which leads you to appreciate all the alternatives you have in your present. All those possible worlds that you did not foresee and that, thanks to induction, you are able to observe and that generate within you the necessary energy for you to completely recover that state of balance that you so seek. If I tell you this, it is because many of the problems that subject you from an emotional point of view have to do with the fact that you enclose yourself so much in what causes you suffering. That is to say, you fall into a kind of psychic tunnel where you stop seeing the enormous open field that you have right in front of you. For the case that I mentioned at the beginning of this module, that of the person who suffered from the man who abandoned her, here everything focused on making her see that abandonment represented a great opportunity for her to concentrate on the things that she really liked her, satisfying her own desires and eventually meeting a partner she really liked. I don't want to delve into this matter, but in this case, when doing the analysis process, my client realized that the man she was dating was not someone she liked at all. You notice that there is no issue here of establishing a healthy relationship, but simply someone clinging to another so as not to feel alone. When she saw that abandonment meant the possibility of being with someone else who really appreciated her and who, above all, she appreciated, this opened up a world of possibilities that she had not seen before. And from there arises the last question that I always ask my clients when I observe that they have already recovered their peace of mind. What do you think of yourself for having suffered so much because all of this? It is the moment in which I clearly perceive that they have already recovered their relief because they managed to laugh at themselves for having worried so much about something that in reality was not so relevant. Let's now move on to the dynamics associated with this state of psychic overcome. To do this, I want you to think about yourself and see yourself completely free from that person and that situation that until a while ago overwhelmed you so much. Based on that, I want you to see yourself in a place where you feel like you could achieve anything in your life. If you could choose one place in the world you would like to be, where would it be? Some people tell me that they see themselves walking through Paris. Others see themselves in a library reading books that fascinate them. If you look closely, the possibilities here are endless. But I want you to activate your thoughts and take yourself to that place that for you would be your starting point to transform yourself into the type of person you have always believed you were destined to be. The next thing I want you to think about is what you would like to do. If you have the possibility of learning anything and doing some type of activity associated with what you learned, what would you do? Some people see themselves learning to cook. Others see themselves learning to play an instrument. As you can see, we return to the previous point. Here, it is about being able to carry out a process of self-awareness, which leads you to realize that you do not need another person to achieve everything you want in life. Therefore, you already know where you would like to be and what you would like to do. And therefore, the next question is what is preventing you from doing everything you want at this moment? If the answer is money, the question that arises is what prevents you from obtaining the money necessary to fulfill your dreams. What I want you to see here is that you are the one who limits yourself because in practice, until before we did this psychic induction, you only believed that your happiness was based on whether or not you were with that person who was always hurting you. If you look, you lived thinking about someone who had no effect on your life. But what have we done here? Because I have shown you that it is you yourself who can open your mind. Get out of that tunnel in which, until very recently, you found yourself trapped, where there was only sadness and darkness, to a space in which you see yourself doing everything you like and having the true life you want for yourself. Therefore, the next question I am going to ask you in this induction process is what your ideal partner would be like. And therefore, if you are facing a relationship breakup, I want you to think about your dream partner, that ideal person that you always wanted by your side. I am sure that if you did the exercise well, it was already clear to you that he is not the person that until now was with you recently. But you must be honest. I want you to see yourself in that special place, which we defined in the first question, in the company of that ideal person. You will notice that just with this image, the physical sensations that are associated with romance have completely changed. Until very recently, you suffered because you were with someone who hurt you. But now, in a very short time, I have managed to make you see the enormous possibilities of happiness that open up at your side by being in the company of that person who was always destined to be at your side, which is clearly a sign that little by little you begin to overcome everything that made you suffer because you realize that you have an infinite world of possibilities that open up to you.